Call the workshop to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Nordby.
Here.
Councilmember Woods is absent. Councilmember McKenzie.
Here.
Councilmember Schweer is absent. Mayor Monge.
Here. Thank you much. Motion to adopt the agenda between you two.
So moved.
So moved.
I'd
Nordby,
second it.
You might as well.
That's it.
McKenzie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you much.
All right, we got two topics on the agenda this
Want to
evening.
adopt the agenda? Or did that?
Just
What
did
am I
that.
doing? Topics, thank you.
Yep. First item up is Century College presentation of a student-built home interior design, and they'll be coming in now.
Welcome, welcome. Good to see you again. Same time next year. We do that every year. Welcome.
No, it's a great tradition. We want to keep it up.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys are up right away.
You're ready.
Who's a little bit delayed in traffic, so she'll just come busting in when she.
No worries.
All right.
Okay, so I think everybody knows me, Catherine Harrington from Century. This is our design build class, and this year we worked with a new Tom and on a double home, which we haven't done before, so it's been a little bit of a challenge and kind of a fun change for me. The students have been great. We have a really good batch this year, so we're really proud to show you what we've done and all the selections we've made, and we're even anxious for when the showcase comes and we can show it off for real. So with that, we'll go at it. Yeah, we need, can we get our slide?
Do we have that?
So is this a 2-year program you guys are in?
Yeah, it is, yeah,
So how many are in your second year?
right.
Everybody?
We only we like mostly for them to be their second year.
Okay,
so
to do it.
they're supposed to be done so they know what they're doing by the time they,
Oh,
otherwise.
I'm waiting to see, we went through the gray phase. Now we're a little bit warmer colors last year. Where are we at this year? Are we warming up, cooling down?
Greenies?
Yeah. That's gonna be the big surprise today, huh? I'm colorblind, so it's always a surprise. This is why he comes out of the booth. We get charged extra for that.
Yeah.
I know, I drove past it today. I try to go every week to see where they're at. The siding's up and it's starting to look good. It almost
I
got it
actually
finished.
did the fence alongside it. Looks really nice.
Yeah.
That really did.
Have you guys come to the open houses before?
Oh, yeah, always.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see you guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully sometime towards the end of the summer.
Yeah, we always, it's always fun to have the community up there. Everybody looks forward to seeing what's new and being able to do that.
Where was the house last year? Is it like,
Webster, it's off of 7th Avenue. It was just farther down. It was farther to the south, or excuse me, east.
Sixth,
Yeah.
7th and 6th.
7th, west, that's it. I get into my day, yeah. Yeah, that was one lot we had for quite a while. It was a remodel, and then we had a lot that was next to it that we were able to build on. So it was nice, it was beautiful. They fit it in really nice. It was, it was a strange lot. It was a triangle lot. So we were able to do that, put it in there. We've been waiting for you. We had technical issues just till you showed up. We were stretching it for you.
thank you, I appreciate it. So cute.
Oh, my. They did you the loop, huh?
Yes. Absolutely.
Plug in your laptop? Just take your computer. Or do you want to do it there? This is government at work right here.
Yeah. How many people does it take?
How many, yep. Where does it go when you open it up? It's weird, when you pop it full screen, it disappears.
Oh, no.
So how many are in your class? Just as everybody?
Yep. 7 with Catherine.
Keep the class kind of small because, try to keep the class kind of small because otherwise we had 30 in a class.
Yeah.
Even imagine doing design with 30.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So this small amount, we can divide it up and we can all mostly get to all the field trips and stuff.
Awesome.
Now, are you guys on the east campus or the west campus?
East.
East?
Yay! Thanks, everybody.
We won't go full screen for whatever reason.
Yep.
No? Anytime.
Good job.
we
Okay,
go.
so as Catherine mentioned, we're the design group. This year we had 2 twin homes. So for our goal for this project was to design a twin home with 2 unique spaces that feel cohesive as a unit and fit the site location. Our approach was to define the spaces uniquely by assigning different design styles to each unit. In Unit A, we aimed for to create a transitional style home with a grounding color palette of earthy browns and greens. And then in Unit V, we chose to create a contemporary style living space with selected more vibrant color palette of blues and oranges. In both units, we aim to design spaces that are approachable and select finishes that are timeless.
All right. Oh, there we go. We got the board too.
Moving to the exterior, our goal was to create a facade that feels cohesive as a single building, while hinting of the 2 unique apartments inside. In order to achieve this, we select a colored palette and materials that feels timeless and fits perfectly into the North St. Paul neighborhood.
The exterior line we selected are to unify both homes and make them feel like one, using a conscious style and cohesive lining. The Dutch lap siding in stone arbor color gray was chosen because it matched the neighboring houses and helps the design blend with its surrounding. The timber thatch ashwood deck adds warmth, and the white main door provides the contrast. Overall, everything creates a simple, harmonious, and well-integrated look.
Okay, so, got it? Maddie and I are going to walk you through Unit A of the twin home. In this unit, we wanted to go for a really grounded, kind of naturalistic color palette of earthy greens and browns. And so starting with the flooring, we brought in some really warm-toned LVP throughout the home and then some warm-toned carpet as well in the basement. On our walls in the home, we have a light mushroom color contrasted by an ivory trim, which we think really brings out the trim work in the home. And then for our lighting selections for this unit, we wanted to go with some transitional pieces in a black metal finish that feel slightly traditional but still very cohesive. So in the entryway, we have this glass dome light as you walk in. Over the kitchen island, we have 2 pendants in a black and bronze finish. And then in the primary bedroom, we wanted to add a little bit more visual interest, so we decided to add that beautiful chandelier for the owner's suite. The kitchen is the heart of the home, obviously, so we really wanted to create a kitchen that felt upscaled and elegant and timeless. So we went with 2-toned cabinets. We have a natural walnut on the lower cabinets, and then on the upper cabinets, we wanted to paint them a classic beige color, which is complemented by our kind of dark brown countertops. That's lovely. And then our tiles, which add some contrast to the countertops as well. Oh, yeah.
So we're still talking that one, right?
Yes, we're still talking unit A. So yeah, overall, we wanted to make this unit feel upscale and approachable and ready for any decor that the future homeowner wants to bring in.
So I'm going to go over the floor plan really quick. This is for the Unit A traditional. So it's designed for a more balanced functionality and it's more of an efficient floor plan. The main living area, so you're going to walk in through the entry and you're going to go straight into the kitchen, which has built-in bench. And then in that, there is an island for extra prep and extra seating. You're then going to go straight into the dining room, which has sliding doors which lead out to a 4-season porch. For functionality, you can use it all 4 seasons. And then through there, you're going to go into the living room, which has a tray ceiling to add character and to define the space. And that also has a fireplace kind of as the focal point of that living room. Before we go into that hallway, there will be stairs going down into the basement, which is finished. It has 2 bedrooms, a full bath, as well as a family room with storage. Then there are 2 bedrooms on that right side of the home. One is going to be that primary suite with his and hers closet and an ensuite bath. And then for bedroom 2, that has closet, and across from that is going to be the guest bathroom. Then you can go through the garage directly into the mudroom, which has the laundry in it as well. And then this is a rendering that we did in SketchUp, and it shows the natural wood, and then we have that linen color for the cabinets as well. And these are going to be the bathroom elevations for the owner, lower, as well as the main bathroom. It shows the beautiful light fixtures we chose out and where they will be placed. And then as well as the cabinet and wall colors, shiitake for the first one. And then we have that softer tan and the techno gray.
Okay, so for our contemporary unit, we did a more cooler, vibrant colors on the cabinetry to stand out. Starting with the flooring, we went with vinyl throughout the whole home in a cool gray tone with complementing gray carpet on the lower level. And then for our walls, we went for a cool gray color and a light contrasting trim that plays off the gray flooring selections. In the kitchen, we went with 2 tones of blue, darker blue on the lower cabinets, and then lighter bluish gray on the uppers. And then we grounded it with the pop of color with a white hexagonal tile and countertop. For our hardware and plumbing, we kept it consistent with the bronze finishes to play up on the modern feel and warm up the cool colors in the cabinetry and flooring. And then we selected light fixtures that have sleek lines and a more contemporary design that still feels approachable.
Then I'll be taking you through the floor plan for Unit B. Entering from the porch, you step directly into the dining room, where a tray ceiling adds height and a sense of detail right at the entry. From here, the space opens naturally into the kitchen, which is centered around a large island. The island incorporates a downdraft range, allowing for unobstructed views and a more open, cohesive feel. A mudroom and laundry are conveniently located off the garage entry to help keep clutter out of sight. The kitchen flows directly into the living room, creating an easy open layout for both everyday living and entertaining. At the back of the home, the 4-season porch extends the living space and offers a bright, comfortable area with views out to a future deck. 2 bedrooms are located on the main level, along with 2 bathrooms nearby for convenience. Each bedroom is well proportioned with closet space, making them ideal for family members, guests, or even a home office. The lower level is accessed using the central staircase and includes a secondary living room, providing additional gathering space. 2 additional bedrooms are located on this level, offering privacy and separation from the main floor. Overall, the layout balances open, connected spaces with more private areas, making it both functional and comfortable. We can go to the next. Starting in the owner's bathroom, one of the first things you'll notice is that statement lighting. The pendant fixtures bring in a modern feel and add visual interest above the vanity. For the finishes, we kept the palette soft and calming with a light neutral wall color paired with a slightly deeper cabinetry to introduce a subtle contrast while still feeling cohesive and relaxed. Moving into the lower bathroom, the lighting shifts to a more contemporary vanity fixture that provides even functional lighting. Here we introduce a bit more color. We have a fresh, airy tone on the wall, while the cabinetry brings in a muted aqua for some pop of color that keeps the space feeling light but a bit more playful. In the main bathroom, the lighting is kept simple with a clean linear fixture that complements the overall minimal look. The cabinetry takes lead in this space with a deeper, rich tone, adding overall contrast and grounding the design, while the palette remains crisp and modern. Each bathroom has its own personality through lighting and color, but they all tie together with a cohesive contemporary feel. Awesome. So yeah, some closing words. We just want to. Oh yes.
For our big crowd at home.
We're open to any questions that you guys may have, but we just want to start with our gratitude for this project and this program and the teachers that have led us through it. It's been such a great experience for us as design students to be able to work with contractors and electricians and plumbers, and we all learned a lot about the process, being able to apply it hands-on in the real world. So thank you for the opportunity to be doing this, and if you have any questions, let us know.
Now, St. Paul Tech, those students down there will be doing the cabinets, correct?
Correct.
And all the trim work and all that? It's well worth it.
Thank you, wonderful job. Can't tell you how much we love having you here, and thank you so much. And hearing that this is valuable to you really helps us, ensure the worth of the program, so thank you.
And we look forward to it every year.
Every year, yeah.
Well, great. I have to say too that it is extremely valuable. I don't know of another program that has this. We were so grateful. Last year when we were here, we didn't even know if we'd have this class again. And then Tom came in and saved us. So we're grateful for him also. And again, my students get so much out of this. It's just a joy, and they're a joy. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job.
And thank you, ma'am. I'm sorry I didn't get your stuff to you.
Hey, Tom, you have a sec to come up and just give us an update on the house?
Yes, right.
Will you do that?
All right. Thanks again, everybody.
Right.
Have a good night.
Good to see you again, Tom.
Thank you. Tom Lyskow, St. Paul College, carpentry instructor. Project is going really well. We're a little behind schedule, but we're pushing really hard to get the students going. Siding is wrapping up hopefully next week. Inside the main levels, both main levels are sheetrocked, taped. Ceiling is textured. They will be painted this week. Interior millwork for the main floors will arrive early next week. We will start the install on the main floor. Basement level framing inspection, mechanical inspection is going to occur on Thursday this week, and then we will move down next week, insulate exterior walls, start hanging sheetrock and taping down there. Millwork will come at a later phase on that. So on the exterior, we have decking selections already made by Century College here, and we will start the install on that. Garage floors were poured this week. Interior garage will be insulated by St. Paul College and sheetrocked by St. Paul College. The taper is going to return and do a fire tape in there. That's required under the code. We're not finishing the garage taping and painting. But yeah, we're moving along. Garage doors will come in May 4th for install. So fortunately, or at that point, we'll be able to secure the home. It's been pretty wide open all along, but we have had no issues with your neighborhoods. We actually had one of the neighbors come over and thank us for what we're doing and how much they enjoyed the program, how much they enjoyed watching what's going on. Brought us donuts, which is nice. So it was good. Several people have been walking by now as they see the students kind of come around. We've been hiding around back in the backyard, the tall stuff. As we come around the corner, we had 2 people drive by today and kind of beep the horn and holler out the window, looks great. And one gentleman walked the street and basically said the same thing. So it's been a great program for St. Paul College. We've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed working with Century College. They have done an excellent job with selections and timeliness, getting us what we need as we need it. Subcontractors have been really performing well, getting in and getting their work done in a timely manner, and overall the project's going really good. I voiced to the students today that we are roughly, our first start date was December 3rd, so we're about 4.5 months into this project. All right, we're building 2 homes essentially, obviously attached party wall. I think the project is moving along really timely for them and for us. Of course, as the instructor and as somebody who's been in the construction industry, I want more performance, all right? And we've put stuff up and we've taken it down and we've built a wall and we've tore it down and fixed it and repaired it. And that's all part of the learning process. It's difficult for me as a contractor, you know, the contractor side of me to say, oh, we just spent 3 hours and we got 4 pieces of siding on. You know, that's tough, but it's a learning process for these students. And I think they're doing really well. They're picking up on it. I continuously say that we have to learn from our failures, all right? We're gonna fail. Then we need to learn and not fail anymore. And that is what's happening. I mean, these students are doing really well, and they're getting close to being ready to move on. Our students graduate. My students graduate May 18th from St. Paul College. Our last day on site will probably be May 14th, and we'll see where we're at that point to see how, you know, we need to get the rest of the items kind of wrapped up and closed in. But we're working hard to get as far as we can. We really look forward to this. I mean, it's been a great opportunity, like I said. St. Paul College has appreciated it. We have the dean at St. Paul College, or I'm sorry, the dean, the president of St. Paul College, the chief financial officer at St. Paul College, both came down and visited me last week in my lab while we were having an open house at St. Paul College, and spoke about how great this program is and how excited they are to be part of that open house and come. We're broadcasting it all over St. Paul College, like, you gotta come, you gotta come, you gotta come. So it's been just a great opportunity, and we appreciate each one of you with your effort that you put into it and your interest into it. We really appreciate the gentlemen in the back, Ron and Randy, who come up and make those necessary decisions. And the best part about it is, you know, I haven't worked with towns or villages or cities in the past, but this city really responds, all right? I had a hard time getting into the job site one day because the frost was coming out of the ground, the mud was sinking, the truck couldn't back in. Sent a message to the 2 gentlemen in the back, and boom, there was a load of gravel up there for me to back up and over. So they're great, responsive. They do exactly what we ask them to do and even more. So it's a great big thanks to each one of you, those in the back. Century College, the partnership has been great, and St. Paul College looks forward to next year.
Amen.
We're looking,
All
we're
right.
looking forward.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Tom.
Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
You gotta follow that, see how you do.
All right, so next item up is the lead water service line inventory program update. We got Morgan here from WSB, our city engineer, and he's brought Justin Babcock with him.
Thank you, Brian, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. So you may have heard some bits and pieces over the last couple of years since 2024 of mostly information coming from the Minnesota Department of Health for all communities that maintain a drinking water system. Basically an edict to identify what materials our service lines from our mains out to the homes are made of, and specifically looking for outdated materials such as lead or galvanized, creating an inventory. Justin Babcock is here with me tonight. He's an engineer at WSB, and he is, for the last 2 years, he's taken on, as a volunteer originally, but he's done a great job managing for about 15 different communities these inventory efforts. And a lot of them look the same for many communities. But some of them are unique, and he's certainly very familiar with North St. Paul's drinking water system and is here to give you an update in terms of what we've been doing for the last 2 years. Much of the activity has been funded by grants from the Department of Health. He'll share some of that with you tonight. There's also some opportunities for future grants, which are still kind of coming together. There's no guarantees, but we're looking to hopefully have not only more funding from outside sources to be able to help with the identification and furthering the inventory efforts, but also the ultimate replacement for hopefully any and all lead and galvanized services that we find here within the city, hopefully in fairly short order, and he has all the details. So is it up on the screen? Okay, great. I've killed enough time. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Justin Babcock, and he will give you that update presentation. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Morgan. Mr. Mayor, City Council, thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm really excited to go over what we've covered so far with this program and what's to be in store. As Morgan touched on there, we've had a lot of work completed so far, have uncovered a lot of different information, and we'll be using that information as we move forward here in the future years. So as a reminder, Morgan covered a lot of the basics here, but LSL stands for the Lead Service Line Program. That's the title of the overall program, and that has to do with our water service lines here in town that connect the water main to our homes and businesses. For the purpose of this inventory and for this program, we break down our service line into 2 distinct components, being from the water main into the curb stop, that being called the street side, and then, which is represented by the blue arrow here on my presentation, and then the curb stop into the home, which is known as the home side, represented by the green arrow there in my presentation. And this will come up a little bit later as I talk about how we categorize the different groupings here of service lines. The overall program goal, as Morgan mentioned, is to build that inventory and use that inventory to further our replacement efforts. With that being linked to the EPA lead and copper rule that was established in 2021, which requires all cities throughout the U.S. to complete this inventory. So we are not alone here in North St. Paul or here in Minnesota. It's a requirement across the nation. So a little bit more about long-term goals for this program. As Morgan mentioned, establishing that inventory with the goal of replacement. Replacing lead and galvanized service lines is one of the most effective ways to reduce lead exposure in drinking water. So for those reasons, it's very important for public transparency and for public health and welfare for us to have this inventory to establish what service lines are in the city and then to go and replace those service lines. In addition, this program is also being used to advance our infrastructure management of water service lines and our utilities in general. As Morgan mentioned, the Department of Health, MDH, is behind a lot of the funding of this technical assistance that WSB has been able to provide to North St. Paul and assistance to the Public Works Department as well. And I'll go into a little bit of what we've uncovered since the program started. So everything started back in 2024 with the initial goal of creating our very first initial inventory online via GIS. With that being said, we had the grant funding to go out and both build that inventory and educate the public, with those 2 things going hand in hand together of not just building and developing as a city, but also making sure the residents know what those service lines are made of and how they're going to be replaced and treated in the future. As mentioned, some of the work that began in 2024 was GIS, setting up the initial data inventory, as-built and historical document research, as Morgan mentioned, with historical construction projects being completed in town, our water meter replacement program, things like that being analyzed. We then completed public engagement, which included a few of the things as you see on the slides here, including postcards and door hangers. And then we also had an open house, as you see on the bottom, with Ron and Randy presenting to a few of the residents here. And then we also completed in-home inspections in the residents' homes to understand what the service lines were made out of. Here's a brief understanding of what our results were from that initial inventory. That pie chart there shows a little bit of the 4 categories that we break down this program into, which are lead, galvanized, unknown, and non-lead. Non-lead being copper, plastic, brass, along those lines. So a key thing here, as I mentioned earlier, is that there's 2 parts of the service line, that street side and the home side. So the inventory is categorizing them as one altogether as a total service line. So it's worst case scenario for the material if there are 2 separate materials. So if we have an unknown material on the home side and a non-lead material on the street side, we would classify as unknown, being the worst case. So that's just a brief breakdown of where we were at after that first year. Moving into 2025, we had another huge win as we received additional grant funding as a city, the maximum amount in 2025 being $75,000. With that, we were able to do a lot more work to advance and continue to establish our inventory. With those unknowns, as you saw, the big chunk of the pie being our main target, trying to get in and complete those inspections. We did a bunch of additional public engagement, as you see there on the slide again. Different postcards and door hangers went out. We used different methodologies to try and get a response from different residents. We also completed plat analysis from the inspections we already did, plats being the individual neighborhoods of homes as they were built and established to gather information from each individual home to inference information about the ones we didn't have the service line information on. And then, once again, completed inspections and had GIS updates. Here's the thing that's really cool about North St. Paul is the amount of inspections that were completed. As Morgan mentioned, I've worked with a lot of communities completing this program, and we got by far the most amount of community buy-in here in North St. Paul through inspections. With that being said, there was over 2,000 inspections completed between 2024 and 2025. That's with a great help from Public Works and all of their folks who were able to assist us with this program while also completing their day-to-day tasks. We had resident self-inspections that were completed. As I mentioned, Public Works inspections, and then WSB also had staff completing inspections. I highlighted a little bit of our little wins as we went through the program, the top one being the 2024 inspections, and then the bottom being 2025. Each time that we did a piece of engagement, being a postcard, a door hanger, a letter, we immediately saw a spike in those responses and those investigations and inspections that were completed, which was really awesome to see the community buy-in on those pieces of information. As you see, the 2024 program lasted much longer than the 2025 one did, based off of funding and how the Department of Health had their calendar work for this. We had a much shorter time in 2025, which is why we did a few different things, and one of the big things being door-to-door door knocking, so going up to every single unknown business and residence and either knocking on the door and hanging a door hanger if there wasn't a resident home, or either A, completing the inspection right away if the resident was home, or scheduling one for a later time if that was more convenient for the resident. As I mentioned, North St. Paul by far had the most amount of inspections of the cities that I worked for, so that was super cool to see that played out there. Here's some of the results from our 2025 campaign, with many of the inspections seen in that pie chart increasing in the unknown category. As you might notice, the math doesn't necessarily work out there with the 2,000 inspections and then only not finding 2,000 knowns. That's once again because of that dual side comparison of the service line and the worst case scenario. I'll show the results of just the unknown services, and that really shows where we are able to gain a lot of information on that home side from those inspections. As you can see, I don't know if you guys can see my cursor. You can't. That first pie chart on the far left is when both sides of the service line were unknown. And you can see between 2024 and 2025, there was a sharp contrast of that going down, and then the street side only going up as a result of those home inspections being completed. So just wanted to, I guess, tie the math there together on why you were seeing that 2,000 ones found. Then in 2026, we were able to take all those inspections that we completed, and as I mentioned before, do some statistical analysis based off of homes that were found versus homes that were still listed as unknown. So if we found a neighbor of someone who is unknown and we had, inspection data and pictures of that home itself, we then could make statistical inferences about what the other service lines were, built at the same time, built by the same contractor, built in the same neighborhood or plat. So a lot of information could be gained from that. And that was done off after a recent update of direction from MDH. So coming from the Department of Health saying that, yes, this is an acceptable way to treat our inventories moving forward. Prior to that, we had been doing strictly hard evidence of, had we inspected it, did we have specific documentation of historical information to prove our points that we had made. And as you can see here, we had a huge jump that came from that through our statistical references, and that's a lot of that information is thanks to all of our inspections that were completed. So once again, going back to that great number of inspection, resident buy-in, public works buy-in that we received from staff here and then from residents. What you might be wondering next is what are our next steps? What does 2027 and beyond look like? And Morgan mentioned this a little bit here, and I mentioned it earlier at the start of the presentation, but those lead and galvanized service lines will need to be replaced. And with that, North St. Paul and the staff here is, we've looked at a 3-phased approach to replacing the service lines. The 140 on there, that's the amount of service lines that we currently know need to be replaced. That is not our total number of service lines that need to be replaced, as there may be some unknowns that come back lead or galvanized that we find here when continuing our inventory that would then be added to this list and added into our replacement plan. But with what we have right now, we are breaking it down into 3 different phases, as that is the best way to receive funding, as what we've seen from other cities so far, and then in addition, breaking that into a manageable project as well for the city. And those 3 phases would be then proposed to continue in the 3 consecutive years of 27, 28, and 29, based off of funding. So a lot of this will be based off of the funding that we receive or qualify for, and that will be dependent on Department of Health. So that necessarily won't be the exact way that it would go, but in a perfect world, that's how we would like to see the replacement program happen. And then secondly, the unknown services there, that's the remainder amount, the 18 and 31. And we are proposing a potholing methodology to move forward with that as well. I know we chatted a little bit about potholing before the meeting here today, but potholing, otherwise known as hydro-excavating, is one of the ways that you can, with very little amount of impact to the resident or to the property or to the yard, understand what the service line is on the street side. As I've mentioned a few times here, the street side has been our problem, as not having the information from it and not being able to gain that through the inspections. So being able to get that information from the hydro excavating here, it becomes key. One of the cool things that has happened recently as well is that we applied and received grant funding for the Minnesota Department of Health potholing pilot program. So that's supposed to start this year as well. One of 36 cities that were selected throughout the state of Minnesota for this program. So super cool opportunity there. As Morgan mentioned, that currently right now is going through contract negotiations with how that program is going to be run. So I'm really hoping to deliver that program here this summer. And one other little touch here for the replacements is that we have broken it down. Here's a kind of a map of the 3 phases here. Once again, depending on funding as it becomes available. Phase 1 is really gonna have those lead service lines paramount, replacing those first. So the service lines that are lead, that are known in the city, are gonna be the ones we tackle first. And then we are going to continue with the galvanized service lines as part of the program in accordance to the Minnesota Department of Health prioritization steps and prioritization criteria that the Department of Health has laid out. And that's based off of census data. So we're making data-driven decisions here, not just picking and choosing where we want to go. It's the census data mixed with Department of Health criteria of specifically children under 5 in the areas, and then in addition, families under 200% of poverty is the two big things that they want us to consider when looking at phasing. And then, as I mentioned, continuing to investigate those unknowns through potholing, through continued inspections. We've been seeing a lot that when we can begin these replacement projects, we start to get more interest in the program again of, oh, well, that's, now I see a replacement, oh, now I want to be part of the inventory, like now I want to be included. So we're encouraged that that would increase the inventory as well as we move forward here. With that, I'd love to take any questions, and I'll stand for any questions from the council. Thank you so much.
Excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Very good. Appreciate it.
When we do major road reconstructions, are we able to tie in anything needed to that so we're not trying to rip the road up twice?
Yes, that's been one of the major considerations, and when I had mentioned using it for our utility asset management at the beginning, that's one of the big things of this program was the goal to tie it into was that anytime we're going to disturb a road, disturb a resident's property, that we're looking at this list of services we need to replace or focus on replacing and getting those involved as well. So yes, reducing the amount of impact to as little as possible, and then same thing goes with further decisions for utilities involving this information as well as we go forward.
Awesome, thank you.
What's the communication from the state as far as having money available for replacing those lines?
So right now, we have commitment from the state through 2027 for money that they have set aside for this program. After that, they're unsure right now. As was mentioned just before the presentation started, so I'll cover it for everybody. We applied for all 3 of these projects to be completed in 2027, 2028, and 2029. And that goes on to a drinking water revolving funds program, and then we will learn if we received funding and where we sit on that priority list this fall. So we'll learn about where we sit in the priority and if we receive funding, and then we go forward with a project, hopefully. Yes, so yeah, what we've found based off of the project priority and intended use plans, which is what they fund these programs from, we found that about a $1 million project every year is what the Department of Health likes to fund. So that's one of the reasons why we broke this into 3 phases, is because for about 50 to 60 services, you can fit into that $1 million project, and that's engineering, construction inspection, construction, everything included in that $1 million. So that's kind of how we one of the reasons we broke it down as well, being those prioritization principles, and then in addition, the best way that Department of Health has seen the appetite for funding.
Now, will this be included in our next phase 2 of our Chisholm and our Masaba roads that will start next year now?
I'll defer.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, so with next year's reconstruction project, what we typically do and what we've done in past projects, and although we haven't completed the final design for that project, I would anticipate it would be the same. We're replacing not only the water main, but also the services to the shutoff valves, which are generally at the property line. So that street side, you know, the 2 halves of the equation, like Justin was explaining, the street side is taken care of. If in fact we do identify or see something, as we kind of talked about before, when the trench is open, we will identify that. If it's letter galvanized, we'll probably let the homeowner know. If it's unknown at that time and it's not on our inventory, we'll update our inventory. And there might even potentially be an opportunity to address it right then and there, but I can't promise that, right? A lot, that depends on a lot of different things. But as we go through these projects, and this goes back to, I think the last time that I was involved on a project where we found a lead service line, or the first time would have been 2018, and I think it happened one other time on another project off 7th Avenue. So we've been doing this similarly even before the service line inventory program was a thing, right? And so it just depends on what we as the city or the city's agents, if there's going to be excavation, what we find. I know Public Works is the same. Even if it's not a street and utility reconstruction project, if they're trying to fix a leaky valve or a leaky service and they come across some evidence that shows you know, a galvanized or a lead or something that needs to be looked at or cataloged in a better fashion, they'll let us know. We'll update our inventory, and maybe that's, again, some additional action that needs to happen at the time. So everybody's on the lookout, and certainly there's that nexus between the investigation and the identification. That's the inventory, that's where we started, and then the actual work to replace it, and that's where this potentially, if we get the funding, and I think things are pointing in the right direction, but 3 years' worth of projects focused on replacing lead and galvanized services throughout the city based on prioritization that's set by the Department of Health at potentially about $1 million per year, you know, outside funding from, I think it's coming from the state and federal government. It's a blended pot of money that's being distributed out. But that's the plan of attack, to hopefully remove at least the known ones over a course of 3 years. And if we can get some more through that inventory, as Justin said, as time goes on, then that's all the better, right? So that's the goal.
If it's not too much trouble, on your next steps on the map there, could you send us or email us a map that you can blow up where you can actually see the street name? I was trying to blow it up,
Oh, sure.
but as soon as you try and blow it up to see what the street name is, it's so blurry.
Sure, and yeah, so, and for the council and for the public, and I believe this is on the city website, the link to the map?
I don't know about this specific map, but our
Not this
inventory
specific
is.
map, but our inventory map is available within the city, and I think we had meant for that to be on the website. If it's not, I apologize, but we're moving towards that. That is slightly confusing to some in the public because there's also a map that's been made available by the state of Minnesota. Now, that's a great map too. The only problem with that is managed by the state. They get our information as we find it service by service. We send it into them, but they have told us and all the other cities that they only update that map once a year. So somebody looking to see, you know, hey, I got this identified and I sent it into the city, and then they check the state's map and hey, it's still unknown. That's happened before. But our map, which we do have created and linked, and it's the same data, it's just updated, I think, live, daily, right? So that's going to be the most accurate way for the public to get a handle on, you know, their home or their street or their neighborhood, right? So that is available. It is, and we can certainly send, you know, better versions of this map to the council so it can be updated, or it could be zoomed in on for street names.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. Any other questions? If not, thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Justin.
There's no other business, so at this time, can we call for adjournment? It's 6:03. We'll have till 6:30.
So moved.
So move, Councilmember Schweer. Second, Councilmember McKenzie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, see you at 6:30.